Balance your chi, level up your life. I'm the Taoist Gamer. Let's skip the intro. At the beginning of the video, a person is seen climbing upward. Notice the rivets. This is a drum. Drums are made by stretching leather taut and securing it to the base with rivets. These two appear to be human, but it's unclear whether they actually are, as the later dialogue mentions a Dawang, Great King, translated as Master in the English version. The fat one clutches a bottle tightly the entire time, occasionally attempting to reach inside to pull something out. From their conversation, we learn that they were spared the death penalty, but were driven out. They might be individuals serving the master in a mountain stronghold or cave dwelling, or perhaps minor demons capable of shapeshifting into human form. Due to some wrongdoing, the master showed mercy by not executing them but instead exiling them. However, their attitudes toward the master differ. The fat one feels grateful and wants to return to continue serving, while the thin one is more clear-eyed, believing that the master's decision to let them go was itself an act of mercy, and returning would only mean walking into a trap. The real reason they are being pursued might not merely be escaping, but rather because they stole this important precious bottle before leaving. The master might spare minor demons but would never let a valuable magical artifact slip away, which is why he dispatched true experts to hunt them down. The two ghostly enforcers that appear, one with a blue face, the other with a red face, are physically robust and fearsome-looking, highly consistent with the figure of Zhong Kui, ferocious demons, from Chinese folklore, low-ranking ghost soldiers of the underworld. They are roughly equivalent to the average White Walkers in Game of Thrones. What they are carrying is none other than Zhong Kui's demon-slaying sword. Legend has it that the demon-slaying sword is one of the 3 treasures given to Zhong Kui by the King of Hell to capture ghosts and subdue demons. Then there is the tiger. Zhong Kui riding a tiger is also relatively common in traditional Chinese culture. This is a general interpretation. As you know, Game Science is a Chinese company, and the goal of game localization is to make the content as understandable as possible for non-Chinese speaking players. However, Chinese semantics often rely on context rather than literal logic, and sometimes the surface meaning isn't the true intent. By substituting symbolic interpretations for certain dialogue elements, the meaning becomes clearer. Now, let's dive into the black interpretation. Feng Ji and Yang Qi. The opening scene where 2 characters help each other up actually refers to Feng Ji and Yang Qi. When you recognize these as the CEO and art director of Game Science, the dialogue in this PV takes on a completely different meaning. The line, "Look at that belly o' yours." What it actually means in Chinese is, "You are too heavy. You have eaten too much and become a fatty." What did they eat? It metaphorically refers to the unexpected massive success of black myth, Wukong, a self-mocking jab at their state of mind at the time. They had anticipated some success but never imagined it would be this big. From here on, I'll interpret based on the Chinese context. The mountain in the dialogue refers to black myth, Wukong. Master'll take us back, so long's we keep that mountain in our heart. Mountain in our hearts symbolizes their commitment to Wukong, a hope that all the destined ones will continue to support them. No scoldin', no floggin', lives spared, why risk going back? This is a self-deprecating remark. Although they haven't met players' expectations by releasing a DLC by August 20th, they haven't been heavily criticized either. If the DLC fails to surpass the excellence of the original black myth, Wukong, they might face intense backlash. For now, they're setting Wukong aside. We've got food on our table. Black myth, Wukong sold phenomenally well, so they now have ample funds and resources to boldly embark on a new project. Zhong Kui's reveal. According to Game Science's official website, however, with the project being little more than an empty folder at this stage, there's hardly any game footage we could share. This suggests that the black myth, Zhong Kui PV, could be interpreted as the studio poking fun at or mocking themselves. What followed further supports this. On August 20, 2025, Beijing time, Game Science CEO Feng Ji posted a Weibo, often considered China's equivalent of Twitter. The full translation is as follows, feel free to pause and read it in 5 seconds. Pay attention to these key lines and the timing. So, for the better part of a year post-launch, I solidified some directions, drafted some concepts, and held numerous meetings. The team, following the DLC first plan, officially got to work. This continued until one day this year, when Yang Qi messaged me in the morning saying, "There's something important I'd like to discuss." As a Chinese person who has never left mainland China, I'm unsure if this translation is idiomatic and accurate, but, for the better part of a year post-launch, means after more than half a year post-launch. In other words, Black Myth, Wukong was released on August 20, 2024, and it wasn't until 6 or 7 months later, sometime after March 2025, that Black Myth, Zhong Kui officially began development with its first line of code. So, the conclusion is, good news, there's a new game. Bad news, 2 to 3 years away. Finally, a brief introduction to Zhong Kui's story. Legend has it that during the Tang dynasty, Emperor Xuanzong, Li Longji, fell ill while staying in Lintong's Mount Li and could not recover despite prolonged treatment. One night, he dreamed of a towering, imposing figure who captured a small demon and devoured it. The figure introduced himself as Zhong Kui, a candidate who failed the imperial examination. Upon waking, the emperor found himself miraculously healed. He then ordered the painter Wu Daozi to create a portrait of Zhong Kui capturing the demon, which was hung in the palace to ward off evil spirits. That concludes the interpretation of the Black Myth, Zhong Kui PV. However, the Black Myth series undoubtedly offers a unique twist on traditional mythological storytelling. Next time, we'll delve into the dark mythos of Zhong Kui. Thank you for watching and subscribe. My next video will come soon.